Coach Keyton Crawford here at the Crawford Podcasting Network, Grand Traverse Pie Company, corner of Grand River Avenue in Hagedorn on a Sunday morning. That's where Kerry and I are always breaking down issues. Hey, we got a stud scribe, a writer, sports writer, prep writer, Lansing State Journal, iconic, Hall of Fame bound. He's Brian Calloway. Man, he's a busy dude. Friday night, where were you? What high school game?
Where you were.
Oh, yes.
Down in Mason.
That was a loaded question. Yeah, Mason High. East Lansing and Okemos, and I tell you, March Madness. Can't beat it.
No, can't
That's
beat
when it's
it
fun
all.
to be in covering high school sports, right?
Definitely. Postseason runs, the fall and football runs, and then you obviously look at high school basketball postseason state tournament. I mean, it's definitely a fun thing to cover the madness for sure.
Oh, yeah. You know, I've watched East Lansing play, I don't know, 6 times in person. This is the best I've seen them play. I thought, didn't you think they played well?
First half definitely
half.
as well too. I've seen them quite a bit as well too. I saw them their very first game of the season against Lansing Catholic.
Oh my God, that was a train wreck.
Yeah, very impressive there. But then, I mean, considering the competition that they played and Okemos, team that played them pretty tough in the regular season a couple of times as well too, for them to go out and perform the way they did in the first half, especially on Friday. You know, KJ Torbert.
No, he was gliding. He was a gazelle. He looked gazelle-like, I thought.
And Cam Hudson, he's just so smooth out there as well too. I mean, both of them were great on Friday night. Both had 25 points. And, I mean, they did this without J.L. Branson, who is a
dude.
Yeah, I mean,
who is, in my opinion, you know, he's as good as anybody else on that team, if not the best.
I mean, he can jump out of the gym as well, too. As a
shooting guard.
Yeah, complete energizer right there as well, too. And so they've done this the past pretty much week or so without him. I mean, he didn't play the last time they played Okemos to close the regular season. Didn't play again on Friday as well, too. So, yeah, definitely impressive.
And Waverly's up next. And this makes a lot of sense, Kerry. Okay, so Waverly is playing East Lansing in a region, and everybody's driving 80 miles to the southwest to Kalamazoo Central High School.
Imagine that.
How does this happen?
Because we don't, well, quite honestly, because Lansing School District don't put the field house in to host those events.
Okay, so you're telling me they didn't put their name in?
I don't believe so, because they would have
the nomination
been able to get a district or regional or quarter. The quarterfinals are a hope.
Yeah.
For our region, we go to hope for the quarterfinals.
If we get there, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean, whoever gets there.
Yeah.
That's where it's going to be at hope. So.
It used to be Don Johnson who used to always have the quarterfinal.
The John in the regional. Gary Snellberger, the PA announcer, he's in our audience right now. Just that voice. I want to hear that voice at the quarter at the regional. I mean, and that's, the quarterfinal. Historically at the Don, for the Class A quarterfinal. I mean, there's been some magic there. I'm not talking urban. I'm talking about some great high school basketball.
Between there and Jackson Parkside back in the day.
Oh yeah.
Quarterfinals were always at Parkside.
So,
but it was funny
no disrespect
because
to Holt, but
right. Oh, absolutely not. Great gym out there. But you think about it now. I mean, not the Easter obviously has the biggest gym in this area.
Yeah.
But DeWitt's gym is huge, nice and big for a quarterfinal regional type thing.
Yeah.
Hope, I think it's bigger than Hope, but even Ionia's got a nice big gym too, you know. But it was funny because I had drove the Sexton Spirit bus out to Charlotte, which was another really good game.
Yeah, great season for Sexton.
Number 3 for Charlotte.
Yeah,
went stupid. I mean, he was banging threes, getting to the bucket. It was impressive to watch.
You sound like a basketball guy. He's a football wrestling guy.
There,
he's talking some hoop talk.
I got my phone. And so I'm online watching you guys at Mason, and I'm like, East Lansing is beating the brakes off of these kids.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not watching this. So then I switched and was watching the Grand Ledge or the Waverly DeWitt game, which came right down to the buzzer. So I'm sitting there with my friend. Like, "Here, what are you watching?" I'm watching Waverly DeWitt because it's really good right now, and the Sexton game. So it was really, Friday night was really, really good for high school basketball.
Yeah, and Waverly got athletes, right,
Brian?
In football, Kerry can talk about football. I mean, they got athletes, and they're good. This basketball, but are they good enough to compete with East Lansing?
Definitely. I mean, saw it twice during the regular season. I mean, the last meeting when they played at Waverly, the game went down to the wire. Waverly had a chance to tie the game at the end.
Yes.
KJ Torberg
Torberg
got the steal and dunk to finish off the game. So, I mean, Waverly played East Lansing tough both times. It's not going to be an easy test for East Lansing on Tuesday in the regional. I mean, both of the games were very tight between these teams. I mean, Waverly had opportunities the first time on the road at East Lansing as well, too. So, yeah, they got the athletes. They've got some guys that can. Dante Pfeiffer, senior, has been around, 4-year varsity player. I mean, he's very talented. Right. Derek Thomas II is only a sophomore. He's been huge for Waverly this year as well, too.
I think the key with Waverly is Dante just has to stay within himself. Don't try to do too much. Don't shoot your team out of a chance.
Right.
Because he has a tendency to do that, to try to take over too much. Because he's got pieces around him. And like you said, they got some really good athletes, and our sub out there, and they even got more walking in the hallways. Trust me.
Yeah.
They got a bunch of kids out there, so that should be. I was hoping, you always wish that, like, who's the other game? Lakeview and
Belcrest and Ann Arbor Huron.
No, Porter Central. Porter
Central.
Is
it Porter Central? That's the other one. Yeah.
Why can't? You know what I'm saying? Like,
you want Waverly and regional, East Lansing and Waverly in the regional final.
Like, seed that thing. Seed that regional.
Yeah, they seed the districts.
Yeah, seed the regional. Get the 2 best teams.
They should, actually they should, not to get way ahead of ourselves, but like in the Final Four, that A doubleheader that we've always enjoyed going to, if it's Orchard Lake St. Mary and East Lansing, that would be the top 2 teams, and they'd be in the semis, not in, you'd want to reseed that if they both. So there's a long way to go before that. Obviously I'm getting ahead of ourselves, but so you think Waverly's got a shot?
Oh yeah,
so that will be interesting moving forward, but it's just not basketball that you cover. I mean, we're going to talk women's basketball, Michigan State, but other sports. Talk about Greater Lansing overall high school sports, the quality. Now I know you got to, I mean, you have to, be positive. I understand that, but what's the caliber of wrestling and some of the other Olympic sports, if you want to call them?
Yeah, I mean, I've been impressed from the time that I've been around here. I mean, I think I first arrived in Lansing in 2010. I was down in Adrian before that, so obviously a drastic change from, being Lenawee County, coming up here, just to kind of the prep scene here, and just kind of the number of strong teams in this area, whether it was Grand Ledge baseball. I mean, Grand Ledge gymnastics was at the height of its game when I first was around here, and then St. John's wrestling was on a high early in my time here. Mason's always been a contender in wrestling. And then, I mean, just some of the other programs, Cuomo, Westphalia, volleyball.
And everything.
I mean, it's been a factory there. Football.
That's flat out work ethic. That's what I call P-Dub. Just, they work hard.
Truly.
Work hard and go win championships.
But, I mean, you've seen a lot of championship caliber teams, Lansing Catholic and cross country and track.
Yeah.
There's just so many teams that you can just think of.
I mean, Lansing Catholic in football, state champion.
Yeah.
Jim Baker took them a couple years ago.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've been able to, see a lot of high-level teams during my time covering preps here. It was different than any other place that I've covered preps, because I was down in Lenawee County for 4 or 5 years. When I was in college, I was a stringer at the Ann Arbor News for some time, so I saw some teams from around that area play from time to time as well too. So I mean, this is probably the best preps that I've been around, being here in Greater Lansing, and kind of being able to kind of follow a lot of these teams around and a lot of the coaches around. I mean, a lot of legendary coaches around here as well.
Yeah, legendary like this guy. Would he be in that legendary category?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So when you cover high school football, for example, out here at Lindsey Adams Stadium, do you ever look at the sidelines and see the behavior of some of the coaches? Are they all just really referee friendly, or how does that work? Are they all
listen, man,
or what?
I'm an attendance coach too, and with my kids as well too. So I understand.
You understand.
So you actually, okay, so I mean, my memory is a little. I'm getting old here at 67. I mean, but I can't. Does Kerry behave well with the referees or not? From what you've witnessed,
he's fine, man.
He's fine. Okay, sure.
I have my moments. I'll be the first one to tell you.
Yeah. He holds refs. It's passion and accountability.
That's it.
Because he's looking through the prism of the player. He doesn't care about himself. you know what, he doesn't want the players getting screwed. Would that be a fair statement?
Because that
if you do happen to give some opinions.
It is. I've been there, done that. It doesn't matter to me anymore. Just call it fair for the kids, because Friday night at Sexton there was some definite. It was kind of bad on both sides, quite honestly. But there was calls that were made because, like, loose balls. And because the Sexton kid was bigger and more aggressive and went for the ball, and the kid bounced off of him, he got called for a foul. And I'm like, well, first of all, it's a loose ball, free for everybody. But because that kid's bigger, he gets penalized, and you're calling. And that was very frustrating. So, you know, those are all no calls. Let the ball go. Whoever gets it, call it a jump ball, that kind of thing. But it wasn't.
But you know what? Speaking of officiating, and I want Brian to address this. You're familiar with Michigan High School Electric Association and all the challenges that they have getting good officials. I mean, no one wants. I mean, who wants to deal with parents and potentially coaches once in a while dealing with their wrath? Is it still a big time challenge?
I definitely think it is. I mean, and you know, just kind of with the wrath you face from fans in the stands as well too. I mean, sometimes you hear things from people in the stands. You're like, I wouldn't want to go out there and official. Just be an official.
So you put yourself in their shoes. Then.
Exactly. I mean, and sometimes I'm like, how do these officials stay calm when these guys are? I mean, because for me, I'd be like. I'd be the first person wanting to kick someone out the game or something like that. I mean, I just don't have the patience,
Right. See, it's funny you said it, but I did it for 25 years. I umpired.
That's true.
I didn't care what was going on outside the thing.
You have to have thick skin.
Unless you said something like really bad, I'm not paying no attention because I don't care. Yeah. I'm here to get this game going. I'm here to get this money.
But you know what? You are a freak to be that way. Most people are sensitive about what people think about them.
And you know what I think that comes from, though? One, it comes from being a big guy my whole life. So, we call it playing the dozens. You make fun of me, I'm make fun of you. So I've been doing that my whole life. Even the kids, and teaching the kids, all the kids want to try to get the little jokes about the teacher, whatever. I'm like, man, you got to come better than that. I done heard way better jokes about, the Mr. Clean.
Don't bring me no weak stuff, as they say in the Gus Macker tournament.
Come on, don't bring that weak stuff. You better come better than that, because remember, I got your whole system here in the computer. I'll pull up all your business and put you on blast. So don't leave me alone. But it'll get so bad at Everett, like the kids be like, man, leave Keyton alone. Don't, because he'll embarrass you. You want to play those games? Don't go there. But but to your point, like, why? We always say that. Why are you listening to what people are saying? Who cares? If you're matter of fact, I drove in here this morning from Grand Rapids. My daughter was playing volleyball down in Grand Rapids, AAU stuff, and the lady was reffing the game, and they have the girls doing the line judge or whatever, and the girl It looked like he hit the line to me. No big deal, whatever. I mean, to me, it's AAU volleyball. Who cares? Mm-hmm. Some ragamuffin tournament in the middle of Grand Rapids. Who cares? But the girl, she had a little earbud in her ear or whatever. She wasn't listening to it. But the ladies and the team, she should have that in her ear. She shouldn't do this. She should. And I looked at her and I said, why don't you just watch the game, be quiet. Leave the girl alone.
You said that.
Absolutely. And then after the game, the referee came down and she was talking and she said something. I'm like, the ball was fine. It's not a big deal.
Right.
But I told the referee, I'm like, you never should ever have to come down and engage with a fan. Never do that.
The optics do not look good.
Never do that.
Yeah. Because it looks like you're not in control.
Never do that. Because we're out at Hope for the regionals wrestling a couple weeks ago. Well, it's more than that now. And there was the thing going on with a match, and the kid was at blood time, and it seemed weird how it was going down. And a fan yelled, and it just happened where everything got quiet.
It's always
one of those.
Timing's perfect.
It was probably inappropriate what he said, but it wasn't ignorant. It was just like the wrong thing to say at the wrong time. But the referee was like, "You got someplace to be? Well, I can help you get there." And I'm thinking to myself, That's original. Why are you engaging with this fan up here?
Yeah.
You just make yourself look bad.
Yeah, you're bringing himself down to that particular
just
level.
ref the game.
Yeah.
Just do the game. And let the other stuff, who cares? Who cares what those people think? Because they're not putting, if you're putting the time in and you're doing what you feel is a good job, it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
I'd like to segue over to a very successful sport here at Michigan State that Brian covers, women's basketball, first-year coach Robin Fraley. Wow. I didn't see this coming. Did you?
No, I mean, you never know what to expect when a new coach takes over, number one, and obviously she had pretty much a majority of the players coming back from last year as well, too, and they finished ninth. I think it was ninth last year in the Big Ten as well, too. So you never know what you're going to expect. But, I mean, by far what she's done this year has exceeded the expectations of many. So much so, I mean, I'm one of the Big Ten voters, and we had to turn in our votes
Coach of the year. This is a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the polls are closed.
Yeah. So I actually voted her my Coach of the Year just based
I
on
don't doubt.
Awesome.
of what she's done. I mean, based on the expectations of what this team had as well too. And if you really think about this team, they're a team that had lost their two tallest players to season-ending injuries before January, and Isa Alexander and Mary Ming, who's a freshman. They lost another player, a former Michigan Miss basketball, Gabby Elliott, to a injury before January as well too. She's still been able to keep this team afloat and has them in position for a double bye in the Big Ten tournament. Depending on what happens today, they've got to beat Wisconsin. They've got to get help from Nebraska. From Illinois, with Illinois beating Nebraska. But if those things happen, they'll have a double bye for the Big Ten tournament. They're over 20 wins, over 10 wins in the Big Ten for the first time since 2015-16. I mean, that's impressive to begin with, especially the Big Ten being as strong as it is, and then the fact that she's done it in her first year and taken pretty much most of the team from last year and turned those players into much better players this year and gotten a lot more out of them as well too. So I definitely think the job that she's done has been very noteworthy to have them in this position with pretty much essentially most of the same team that they had last year.
As mediocre or whatever about men's basketball in the Big Ten, women's basketball it's up there, and Caitlin Clark has a lot to do with it. Did I hear correctly that the Big Ten women's tournament is sold out? Or,
yeah.
I mean, that's
It's in Minnesota,
insane.
isn't it?
Minneapolis,
Yeah, Minnesota.
That is crazy.
They're a little different up there. They got the links up there.
Yeah.
WNBA team.
Can you imagine
their hoop
how
up
many
there.
people to go see Caitlin Clark? Now, today, as we're filming this on Sunday morning, Caitlin Clark's got 18 points to break Pistol Pete Maravich's record. Snelly and I remember him when we were growing up as an eighth grade. He was 1970, man. He was firing the ball. Caitlin Clark is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, were you in Iowa City?
No, I was not. But I saw her when she came to East Lansing last year, and Michigan State actually did a pretty decent job on her last year. But then that game,
Well, they should have beat Iowa up in Iowa
City.
City.
She hits that buzzer beater this year.
Yeah.
They played them tough.
They played them tough. That's when Michigan State really impressed me, the women in that game. I mean, they gave up the game winner, but wow, that was impressive. Michigan State have any chance, women's, to win the Big Ten championship?
I don't see why not. I mean, they played a lot of the top teams in the Big Ten very tough. I mean, you look at Iowa, took them down to the wire in Iowa City, but only before falling on that last second three. When I went to Ohio State, played them tough in Columbus in December. I mean, I think Ohio State is clearly the best team in the Big Ten. They've just got the best collection of talent, in my opinion. And, they're probably going to be in the 4 or 5 games, so they might run into them in the Big Ten semis, which is going to be tough. But, they've played a lot of the best teams in the league very tough. So, I think with what we've seen from Robin Fraley's team this year, you can't count them out just because, this team has been knocking on the door. They're going to keep plugging away. I think they're on the verge of picking up one of these big wins over one of these teams, whether it's Indiana, Ohio State, or Iowa at some point in time down the line if they get an opportunity.
Yeah, the NCAA tournament. But lastly, we want to touch on Michigan State basketball. Tom Izzo's not into moral victories, but, man, they looked good last night.
See, now I didn't get to see it when they lost by 6, 8
They
points.
lost by 6.
6.
And they were down by 12, and they came back and competed. I do think Michigan State men are all right. All they need is one more win, and they're in the tournament.
Yeah, I think they're all right as well, too. I haven't really been able to see much of them either. I was kind of casually paying attention to them a little bit last night while doing some other things for work. But, yeah, the fact that they kept that game as close as they did. Look, for a while, it looked like they were going to, things were going to get away from them. But all of a sudden, I look up on the TV, and it's a 6-point game, 5-point game down in the stretch. So I think they'll be all right. Just got to obviously take care of business over the last week of the regular season here, and maybe get a win or two in the Big Ten tournament as well, too.
Yeah.
How many points did the big fella have?
32 was
32.
it? Yeah.
We had 35 against Michigan last week. I saw him. He had 32.
Did they call him for any fouls this time?
Not many.
He doesn't get called. How you
No,
can be
I
that
will
big
say that.
and not get any fouls. I don't
You know,
understand.
but Purdue is going to be Purdue when it comes in.
When it
I mean, they're
matters.
going to do
They're
what
gonna
Purdue
choke.
does, and they don't when it comes to the final. They haven't been to the Final Four since 1980. You were what in first? In
12 years old.
Elementary school. Yeah, that's a long time ago. So that's my prediction. And Michigan State men, I think, could make a run in the Big Ten tournament because when you least expect it, Izzo's team get hot.
They got the 4 guys on that team.
They need a center. They need
Well,
Zach Edey. If they had Zach Edey, they would have been champs.
If Booker was
Booker
junior,
looked good last
If he
night.
was a junior, we wouldn't even be
David
having this
Booker.
conversation because they'd be the same record probably as Purdue.
The dude's a player.
He's just got but that showed. I didn't get to see it, but I was reading, and it's the big fella, boom boom, and laid him up on him because he's just not big enough to play that. But he's not a 5 though. I mean, he's got a 5 height wise, but he's a 4. He could be like Granger or G and hit that 3, which he did yesterday. No, you gonna come out here and guard me. Because come on,
like Book,
7'4", come on out here.
Guy's a player.
He banging them 3s on him and opens up the floor for the rest of the guys. So
Yeah.
Akins has to be more consistent
Yeah.
to
he
me.
does.
Because if he can get 10 to 12 a game, maybe 15, that'll alleviate some of the pressure off of Walker. And obviously number 11, he just drives me nuts because he has the most capability on everybody playing
Talking about
point
AJ
guard.
Hogarth? Yeah.
Yes, at 6'4". Just get to the basket.
Yeah.
Take these guys to the basket and shoot free shots.
Yep.
But
So it's March, so busy time. Brian, real quickly, how do people get a hold of your content for our listeners out there in the podcast?
LancingStateJournal.com, obviously. I'm on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it.
X.
at Brian_Calloway as well, too. That's where, obviously, I post a lot of the work that we do at the LSJ.
And where are you going to be this week? Who set your agenda? Do you?
we start
do.
the
You
women
set
this
your
week,
own
so
agenda.
The girls,
Nice.
The girls start tomorrow.
Yes,
so
girls start tomorrow.
Where's the big
So
games
the girls
at?
are behind.
One
so,
week. So the girls
That's
will go.
usually the other way around.
Well, it is,
Well, they
but,
switch every year.
Well, no,
they do?
no, they don't switch every year, but this year it was switched because of the Breslin Center availability. So if the Michigan State women would have been a
the
top
tournament.
16 seed,
Ah.
they would have had a
get
chance
the
to
home
host
game.
it. They
Yeah,
would have been
there's
able to
always
host
that
that.
variable.
Yeah,
in.
messed them up
Yeah.
for the hosting. That's why they was at Calvin for a couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The girls. They
Yeah.
moved them there.
So are you going to be Tuesday night, Waverly EL?
Yeah, that's my plan to go down to Kalamazoo Central for Waverly East Lansing Part 3. I think that's probably the best game that we've got going on in the area just based on the
So that's a
teams.
Tuesday and then Thursday?
Tuesday and Thursday for boys regionals, which is different because obviously they're usually Monday and Wednesday because they're following the girls, but this year
Yes.
they're ahead of the girls, so the schedules are kind of
You got
flipped a little bit.
staggered.
Right, so the girls will be Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Yep.
That was really kind of. Well, I guess it's hard on the people that are hosting. You would almost think that maybe they do it. I think volleyball does it that way, where like the one game, like I drove Lansing Christian out to Bellevue
Wow.
to play.
On Monday, the first
Yeah,
round.
Down
the
to
first
Bellevue.
game.
Down 69.
Right.
Yeah.
To play. Who they play? But it wasn't Bellevue. Like.
Oh, you're saying like those opening round
Yeah,
games
yeah,
where the
yeah.
two teams aren't
Yeah,
playing
and
each
then
other,
and it's
playing at one
game.
of the
Play at one of the other people.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
And because those people had to set that up, and there's a lady, she was phenomenal at Bellevue. She getting this out, putting the water. I mean, she was doing everything. So I would assume she was the AD. But I told her, I'm like, man, you gotta get you an assistant or something. But you're out here killing it.
Yeah.
And they're playing. That's a nice little gym they got out there too.
Yeah.
But they played. But it's only one game. So that was like kind of frustrating. Like you want to go and see 2 games. Now there was 2 games on Wednesday, semis,
Yeah.
and then play the final on
Well,
Friday.
you got a gym like Mason, 2 games. It's crowded. You have to manage you have to shift your crowd. That's hard.
This week, over in Saginaw, Arthur Hill is playing Saginaw again for the third
baby.
time.
Last time.
And the last time.
Last time.
Because they're combining after this
Oh,
year.
they played the Midland Dow Center. Yeah.
They did the first time, but the regional is at wherever. No, it's at Corunna. The regional is at Corunna.
Run it?
Right, but they're playing the first game at 5:30 Saginaw, Arthur Hill, Saginaw, and I think they're going to
Emptied it.
clear it.
Cleared it.
So,
Yeah.
but you can still be able to come. They did that at Holt one year.
That's a logistical nightmare.
Whenever played Campbell, when there was a bazillion people out there, they asked to move. You can still get back in if you wanted to stay. You just had to have your ticket, and then let the people for the next game come in so they can be able to sit by their team.
Hey, two
which
words,
was fine.
Don Johnson.
Literally.
Okay, come on. This is insane. Anyway,
Don
anyway,
Johnson,
for
the
Kerry
win-
Keyton, Tom Crawford, Brian, really appreciate coming on the podcast. Good luck. Keep up the terrific work, and we'll follow all your content. And hey, I'll say it. Go Trojans. Till next time.
Go Blue.